What is going on, dudes and dudettes? I'm about to die. Hold on.
Yeah. That's not as good. I think it's gone bad. Anyway, what's going on, dudes, dudettes, gamers, gamers, lads, and lasses? Welcome back to another Cretaceous episode of Games and Gamers. It's just me again today. Danger's gone. We're actually going to be hopefully getting back on topic. This one and next episode are going to be solo episodes. At least as of right now, they're going to be solo episodes. So, and I also apologize for the delay on this one. I don't know why. Like, the last, quarter of the game, my physical version was not working, and the emulators were not working. It was just, kept messing up come the end. And so, I think also since I'm alone, I'm not going to go into as in-depth into Dino Crisis review as I did with, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's going to be more akin to Final Fantasy 16. How I did that was a little 30-minute synopsis, kind of... not even a 30, just kind of talking ups and downs of the game. But... it's weird doing this alone. But I'm also trying something new. We're going to try something new come later episodes of Games and Gamers. So, what the media? My media right now. Where's my other freaking... Ugh. It's tangy. Anyway, what the media? My media right now is, as always, bouncing around. I've got my all-around gaming channel, which I've got going right now. I finished Rage, I'll be starting Skyrim. Metroid Prime. I finished Alan Wake, so I'll be starting God of War. Actually, that'll be... that's going up. That's a spoiler right there. Ooh, God of War. The 2018 God of War. The God of War 4. I've been doing the Dino Crisis, attempting anyway. RE2 Remake. Gonna start Chicken Police here again. For specific reasons. And is that it? I've started watching movies again, I guess. My medias are just kind of always all over the place. If you're a new listener to this, I always do a lot of everything. Whether it's a lot of games, a lot of movies. It's not just a single game here and there. It's, oh, I've been doing this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. I'm also playing Stranded Deep with my buddy. The Sea of Stars, one who recommended Sea of Stars. I'm playing it with him. I don't know if I'm going to upload anything. We'll see. But we're going to talk about Dino Crisis. Dino Crisis was originally made... I think, 3 years after Resident Evil? When did this come out? I think it was 1998? I should have had this up. No, it was 99. I was a year off. It was released in 1999, so this would have been around the time RE3 Nemesis came out. And this game was a whole different little beast. I like this one a little more than I prefer first Dino Crisis to first Resident Evil because it's dinosaurs. Spoilers. Ooh, dinosaurs. But it follows if you are whenever Danger and I play. If Danger was here, he'd be saying it reminded him a lot of Resident Evil, which you know what is not entirely wrong. This game is like a base bone, bare bone itself, reminiscent of Resident Evil. It has a lot more different things that go into it, which I prefer the mechanics of this game over Resident Evil. Not hating on Resident Evil, but this game I just feel handles some of its things better, and also came out years later, so it also has that to it too. But Dino Crisis is very much reminiscent of, I'll use it in layman's terms, it is Resident Evil with dinosaurs to a degree. But it handles things a whole lot better. The story is Regina here and her little group of special tactics people are sent to the Ibis Islands to find out a deceased doctor who's been apparently... a doctor who is apparently deceased, but he's actually been undercover for who knows how long. They had somebody in to infiltrate this little lab thing that ended up finding him. So, special group here, I keep pointing there, special group here ended up going in to find it and running into dinosaurs. Realizing that Dr. Kirk, that's a doctor they're after, has some whole little fun scientific thing going on that is essentially bringing dinosaurs to them through time travel. I want to say that's kind of it. Like, that's the main story of it, and you just deal with dinosaurs, pterodons, raptors, compies, and a T-Rex. T-Rex is fun. But you... God. And I don't want to be drinking Monster. It's just the only thing that's nearby. And I'm afraid my body armor got bad? My body armor's gone, bad. It's gonna ferment. Body armor wine, anybody? Or mead, I guess? But Dino Crisis has its own little array of characters. You have Regina, you have Gale, the squad leader, you have Rick, the brains of the group, and then you have Dr. Kirk, who's just a dick. Pretty much. That's pretty much all how much that actually equates to everything. Is that right there? You have to run through this. You have to run through this facility, unlocking doors with puzzles. I believe it's called like the DOS system, where it's like those old puzzles where you have to like line up the shapes or match up the shapes with what's on the screen. As this gets early on, and later on, you end up having to find like password, like word-specific, number-specific things as you unlock further and further into the game. Combat's similar to RE1, where it's tank controls and shoot and go. This also has a crafting system in the game where you can craft ammos and healing, which I think I prefer it in Resident Evil to this. It could just be me. I'll also be doing a few comparisons to Resident Evil in this because, though different games, the Resident Evil is like the bare bone of this. Actually, quick side tangent. I could be wrong on this. But after RE1 success, I cannot remember the name of the guy, the developer of all these games. He wanted to make, whenever he was working on Resident Evil 2, I believe, he ended up having his original idea scrapped. The original idea then became more akin to Dino Crisis. So this is probably in his mind the closest to what Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 2, the sequel, was supposed to be before it got changed what we know with Claire and Leon. I think it's 2, it could be 3, but I want to say it's 2 would have been something akin to how this is. I don't know how that actually would transition. Like, I don't know, it could have been theoretically like RE3 could have been RE2, and then RE2 could have been RE3 kind of thing. I don't know entirely. Either way, though, this game was made supposed to be one of the original concept of this, like the game itself, not story-wise, was made for a Resident Evil game, which I think could have been really fun. Like, imagine probably RE3 is the closest thing to it, where you just run around with one character unlocking area after area after area with these cool little systems, probably going deeper into the Umbrella Corporation. But we're not here. I'm not worried about that. So, Dino Crisis. 1999, just RPG, like, not RPG. God damn it, Hayden. I have been gaming too much, talking too much games. It's a 1999 horror thriller game, like I said, similar to Resident Evil, where you as Regina have to go explore this facility. In this facility, there are dinosaurs. The game makes it known very early on, similar to Resident Evil, probably in the first 10 minutes or so of the game, that dinosaurs are out to kill you. Because, you know, they gotta have something. They can't just have you run around in suspense knowing that dinosaurs are somewhere in the game without knowing where the dinosaurs actually are. So, like I said, first 10 minutes of said game, you are introduced to raptors. Raptors come with a whole bunch of fun things because you shoot them, they fall down, and they can play dead. It's almost like Resident Evil with the zombies, but where they get up after a few seconds. But raptors in this game will play dead. At least that's been my experience. I'll shoot them, they'll lay down till you get close, and then they jump up and get you, which is really cool. It's a really cool mechanic. If you don't pay attention, because whenever you kill the enemies, they have a blood pool that appears underneath them. It can absolutely mess with you, which I really like. I haven't seen Danger's playthrough. He hasn't beat the game. Another reason he's not here. But it makes it fun because if you don't know that's there, you're like, oh, they're dead. They're on the ground. Ah! And they jump scare you. It's fun. They also have another fun thing in this game, which I really like. Like, it's probably one of my favorite aspects of this game, and that is the bleed mechanic. Not that your character slowly bleeds out in the same sense that you lose HP, but the bleed mechanic in this game works more for the raptors. If you are getting hunted and you have bleed and you don't use a bandage, something to heal you, a hemostat, I think is what it is, you will bleed and leave a trail. Meaning, because this game is like a 3D spatial game, it's not like Resident Evil where enemies aren't always active. It's some weird semantic in it where if you're not in the room in Resident Evil, the enemies are not there. At least Resident Evil 1. Resident Evil 3 had it, and I believe 2 does. I haven't played 2, the original 2, so I don't know, but I'm assuming it'll be like the Nemesis thing, where Nemesis can just pop in through a door. And this game kind of has that with the raptors. If you're bleeding, you leave a blood trail around that the raptors themselves can track. The raptors make it a lot of fun, and I wanted this for a little while, is a remake of Dino Crisis here. Dino Crisis, the game in that game, I want a remake of Dino Crisis, because I'm imagining that right now, the bleed mechanic leading into the stock mechanic, similar to like Mr. X, but now that we have a lot more better technology, we could have, as opposed to like 2 or 3 raptors stalking you, which is what Dino Crisis has. If you let that happen, it's like at most 2. I think 3 is the highest side of that. I think 3 is honestly the most that could actually be on the game, like in an area at once. I can imagine like a pack of raptors, like 6 or 7, just kind of going through the doors. They know how to open doors in this game, and that could be fun. That could be terrifying. Like, oh god, I'm bleeding out. There's raptors on my tail. What do I do? That could be a fun, horrific experience that I would love to experience in a remake. The weapons in this game are kind of just bare bone. You have gun, you have shotgun, you have sniper, you have, I believe, a grenade launcher, and I want to say, maybe flamethrower? Or I'm thinking of 2, one of them. I want to say, let's nix out the flamethrower. That you have to find ammo for. Another fun part about the ammo, weapon system itself, is you have you have the sleep system. That's one thing that really puts this apart to other games. Is another, we're going to use Resident Evil. Resident Evil games, you had only one choice, and that is kill enemy whenever you combat an enemy. At least in the older games. Newer games, it's not the same, but older ones, you just have to kill said enemy if you want to fight the enemy. This game here does not have that. You have the ability, if you want to craft yourself sleeping darts or poison darts, but you have the ability to craft darts that, let's say if you shoot a velociraptor with sleep trank, with a tranquilizer, they will sleep for, I think it's like 12 minutes, I think is what it is. I think. But that still leaves them in place. The next time you go into said area, raptor is there, but it could be asleep, it could be awake. I like that. I like whenever games don't give you like options on how you want to deal with an enemy. Like Silent Hill. Silent Hill, we're going to use this because they're all kind of the same tank control, puzzle-based, weird games. Oh, by the way, I also got a physical copy of Silent Hill. It's now sitting back there on my secondary shelf, which I'm excited for. I don't need it, but I have it. What was I saying? Silent Hill. Silent Hill, you can go through that whole game with only having to kill one enemy outside of a boss. Outside of bosses. And Dino Crisis kind of has that if you know what you're doing. Like, I saw a thing pop up on my feed, because I've been doing a little bit of Dino Crisis research, that somebody went through this game no damage. So, and I watched a little bit of it, and they were good at using the guns, they were good at the timing, and they also had enough trank darts to take care of what they needed to take care of when they took care of it, so it wasn't like a super strenuous, arduous journey to do anything like it would be in like Resident Evil, waiting for the timing and all that. I think Dino Crisis handled this better than Resident Evil and Silent Hill, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun with this on initial playthrough. I prefer just playing Silent Hill on initial playthrough versus all 3 of them. But I do like Dino Crisis and its mechanics a lot more. The story itself isn't anything horrible. It's an older game, so it's absolutely more unique of it. Go find evil doctor dude and bring him back because he has sensitive information. This game also relies on, we're going to bring into another thing of Resident Evil 3 of choice base. I want to say it's 3 times in the game, 3 or 4 times throughout the game. You have the option of different paths. So let's say Gale and Rick early on in the game. Rick gets a distress thing from one of the team members. But Gale, the leader, saw a mysterious figure on a camera and it's like, oh, that could be our doctor. Hey, Regina, come with me. And Rick's like, no, Regina, come with me. You then have a branching narrative. It doesn't affect a whole lot. It's to my knowledge, it doesn't affect a whole lot of the game. I could be wrong. Like, it's not going to be like a friend system. It's like next time you see Gale, you went with him instead? And then have it like completely alter the entire course of the game. That'd be cool. Another thing for Dino Crisis Remake is if they did that, actually have it alter the story. You went with Rick instead. Well, now now Gale has some big bad damage to him that he needed another hand for, or something like that. Or Rick, you didn't go with Rick, so the party member the teammate you were going to save ends up dying, so he doesn't help in the final bout. That would be fun. Something like that could be really cool. And I always bring it, in my opinion, in the right moments, because it's always like after a little bit of stress is going on, so you're in like a lull period, and then it builds the stress way up, because, oh no, do I need to go path A or path B? It's going to alter so many things. What am I going to learn on path A? Am I going to miss out story things for path B? I'm also not going story super in depth on this one, because I gave a really brief synopsis of it. Is special tactics go to find Doctor. Doctor has brought dinosaurs from different time into this world, and dinosaurs Jurassic Parked everybody in there. And now they're just trying to escape the island with Dr. Kirk in hand. Very quick synopsis of said game, where you just go explore and learn bits here and there. I think that's I think that's honestly the best thing for the story. Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I mentioned a T-Rex, because I want to talk briefly about said T-Rex. I say briefly. I want to talk about the T-Rex. The T-Rex is like the pseudo-antagonist for the game. Like, it's not so much like Necromorph and Dead Space, or the zombies in Resident Evil, or frickin' I don't know, the Heartless in Kingdom Hearts. The T-Rex is just kind of there. And he just makes appearances. Like, at the most inopportune moments. Like, early on in the game, you go into a lab, you talk to a doctor, he's like, ugh, Kirk, code, get, and he dies. You grab said code, and T-Rex just pops through the window. Why? I don't know. Later on in the game, you're about to get saved by a helicopter. And you know who comes marching through a wall? The T-Rex, to attack the helicopter. Why? I don't know. And then you have a little like miniature boss fight with the T-Rex. The T-Rex just kind of shows up. It's really fun. I like whenever the game doesn't have something that is actual villain. It's just a threat. I would have liked to see the T-Rex a little bit more than what it was. Like, you know, you're outside, like, it could be like I want to say it's Dino Crisis 2. There's one section where you go outside, and every time you go outside, the T-Rex is always there. I want to say it's in the lab area, like the Pier lab. It's been a minute since I played Dino Crisis 2, so I could be wrong on that. But I would have liked the T-Rex to have a little bit more of a showing. Just me, not much more, because it was done really well. He was always like, man, when is the T-Rex going to show up anytime soon? But they also had like good moments where you could hear the earthquake of him going up. The T-Rex was done really well. I like how they just had him pop in and out, not even being an actual villain. He's just a, oh no, the T-Rex could be here. Ah, the T-Rex is here kind of threat. Those are always handled a lot better than Mr. X. Or, yeah, we're going to use Mr. X because he's like the most, right? I think him and Nemesis are like the two most iconic stalkers. We could also say Lady Dimitrescu from RE8 for different reasons. But the stock mechanic, it's always 50-50 on the stock mechanic. Which is why I think the Raptors do well with this, because they have their own miniature stock mechanic. Then you have T-Rex. I don't think the T-Rex needed a stock mechanic, but it could have been like an outside area. Like, you know, you go outside, you have a 50% chance of the T-Rex being there, because he's apparently just circling this one building. Why just one building? I don't know. The island's pretty massive, as we learn in Dino Crisis 2, but he's just circling this one area, this one building. That would have been fun to have that every time you're outside, because he can bust through the walls. The dinosaur choices are also really fun. Like in the game, you end up fighting compies, and they attack you in a group. And if you get kind of cornered by them, you die quickly because it's a little bit of damage. You know, that's what they are. They're ants that just attack you and kill you. Then you also have pterodactyls, pterodons, or pteranodons, as they call it in this, where if you're outside, they can pick you up and they can drag you, and they can either carry you off the map or drag you to your certain doom if you don't get out. Like I want to say the first time, maybe second time you deal with the pterodactyls, the pterodons. Whenever you end up like breaking loose, because we're also going to talk about quick time events, because this has like pseudo quick time event, is whenever Regina goes outside, she hears her, ah! and gets grabbed, and whenever she breaks out, if she doesn't break out, she dies because he gets dropped into a fan. Whenever she drops out, he gets thrown into the fan and just gets splattered all over the place. I would love to see this game in a remake for the violence, the graphic, the absolute damn good violence that could happen in this. That's why I want Parasite Eve remake. I know Parasite Eve remake is not possible at the moment, but I would love for that. That'd be so much fun. Let's see. I think that's it for that. QuickTime events. We're going to go into QuickTime events. Because a few times this game has jump scares, where you open a door, or you're about to open a door, and then boom, a raptor shows up and starts attacking you. You have a little danger bar at the bottom of the screen. A little danger thing, you have to like mash buttons to get out of. If you don't mash the buttons, you can either be killed, or you are going to take a lot of damage and suffer bleed with raptors still being around. Either way, raptors still around. But I like how they actually integrated QuickTime events. Not so much of like hit square, hit triangle, hit R2, hit left bumper, hit L3, stuff like that. It's like you actually have to interact with it because you are going to die otherwise. You have to like essentially thrash around, which is what you're doing on the controller. Is just, I mean, there's a good controller that I won't break if I thrash. There's none here. Yeah, there's a PlayStation 2 controller in front of me where you just have to thrash to get out of it. I like that they integrated something like that. It feels very fitting for this kind of game where you're getting hunted and stalked and attacked by dinos. Dino Crisis is just a really fun game. Like, I have a lot of fun playing Dino Crisis. I feel like this game takes a little bit more puzzle knowledge than... It takes quite a bit more than Resident Evil. I feel like it doesn't take as much as Silent Hill. It's like right in the perfect middle of both of it. It has the right amount of combat, has unique combat mechanics, and has great puzzle aspects too. Like, out of the three of them, because Dino Crisis was sort of a pseudo-competitor for Resident Evil. It did well enough to get other games, and then one of which we don't talk about. But it was done well enough that people wanted more of it, which is why Dino Crisis 2 came out about a year or so later. Different story for Dino Crisis 2, because they entirely changed the whole script on that. Not the script, like the game itself, because they didn't want to compete with RE3, I believe? They didn't want to compete with Resident Evil, so that's why they changed everything. And people saw this and thought, man, this is so much like Resident Evil. Just Jurassic Park and Resident Evil had a weird baby. Which is 100% what it is. It's different story, different mechanics into it, absolutely. But you look at it like bare face value, Resident Evil, Jurassic Park, baby. And I prefer it to the running around the Spencer Mansion. It's more fine-tuned. I think I said that already. It came out a few years later, so it's more fine-tuned than the original Resident Evil, which is clunky. It's playable clunky, but it's clunky as all get out. It's like Silent Hill. Silent Hill is clunky. Is there anything left to actually talk about with Dino Crisis? I guess puzzle system. I already talked about the DOS. I think it's the DOS system. I cannot remember what it's called. It's basic. It's one of those like little dial things, pretty much like you see in like Alien Isolation. Something just moved on my desk, but it was a Snickers wrapper. It's like Alien Isolation. You have that little dial thing where you have to match the thing, where you have to match the shapes to it for some of them. Otherwise, you have to like fill in spaces for others. Its puzzles are not too hard until you get to the latter end of the game. And that's what makes it fun, is it's an ease into the puzzles. It's not like Resident Evil, you just have to like memorize puzzles, and it's not even puzzles, it's like item placement. It's like, oh man, where do I get this item from? Oh, where do I get this item from? Silent Hill, you have to like 100% memorize puzzles. Like there's a piano puzzle. You have to memorize a piano puzzle. Dino Crisis, I feel like, did its puzzles, like I already said, a lot better than both of those, because it's challenging enough that you have to put thought into it, but it's not too challenging. I didn't find it too challenging to have to look up how to get past a lot of the puzzles. I don't often have to look up puzzles in general. Like I had to for Silent Hill one time, at least to kind of get a base idea, and that was the also the piano puzzle. I want to say it's probably one of the harder puzzles in that game, but this one here did it well because it's, you know, answer's always kind of in front of you. You just have to think on it a little bit more. Overall, I really want to say, out of this Capcom era, this Konami Capcom tank control horror shooter kind of thing, Dino Crisis is, in my opinion, probably one of the better ones. Probably is the best, like, first iteration of all the games. I could get some hate for saying that, but I really feel like the original Resident Evil, the original Silent Hill, and the original Dino Crisis, yes, I know, released years apart from each other. No, Silent Hill was released, I think, same year as this. Anyway, they're all like the bare-based bone of it, were done well in their own way. Dino Crisis is, I think, handled what the other two did in a much better fashion. Except maybe, characters are better in this one, because you actually got a lot of character depth with some of them. You got more character depth than you did in Silent Hill. You got more character depth than you did in Resident Evil. And the voice acting was slightly better. This is still in the era where voice acting wasn't the best thing in games. So, it wasn't awful. You could absolutely tell it's a game from, like, now almost 30 years ago. We're getting 5 years from it being a 30-year-old game. And it definitely has its age. Definitely plays its age. I've been playing. If you want to play this game, you can play it online. You just type in, like how Silent Hill or Resident Evil, play Dino Crisis, and it's like PS1 emulator or something like that. You can play this game. You can upscale it a little bit too. I don't think depending on what version, like what site you find, you can put it up to like 4K, which looks really weird because this game is not a 4K game. It's 1999, so it's a PS1 game that looks very pixelated. But oh well. But in the end, it's a good game. I like Dino Crisis. It's free, so if you want to go play it and you have the ability and you're fine with these kind of games, I say go play it. You may have a lot of fun with it. You may not. It's hit or miss with some of these games for the different people. I feel like Dino Crisis, though, because it's later on in the lifespan, like in the time of RE3 coming out, is probably the best one out of all of them, just because it's more fine-tuned controls. I've said that more than once, but I just want to reiterate, it's much more fine-tuned controls compared to Silent Hill or Resident Evil. Just more time put into it. So if you have the ability to, like a computer, heck, you can even play it on your phone, I believe. Go play Dino Crisis. It's a really fun game. And there's other endings too. I didn't even get to the other endings, and that depends on kind of how you play through the game. And not even, I want to say it could be dependent on the choices. I've played through it twice, and I've got the same ending twice. Which I don't know what the variable is in it, and it could have just been me like forgetting what I played through, how I played through it the first time versus how I played through it the second time. And now these last times, I just haven't been able to get to the ending because my disc isn't wanting to work and the emulators aren't wanting to work for me. So, yeah. What else is there? I really think that's it. I can't really think about much more that would be for Dino Crisis, except I just want a remake for it, and it's a really fun game. And also, if you like big butts, if you're one of those people out there, yes, scale up the game, though. That was what I was talking to one of my buddies at work, and I said that Dino Crisis, the only reason they remember it is because of Regina and her assets, like Eve from Stellar Blade. But I do want to give this game an ultimate review. That's it. I want to give it like what was I? I think I had Resident Evil as a 7. I had Silent Hill at a 7. I'm gonna give I had Silent Hill at a 6. Yeah, I had Silent Hill at a 6. I had Resident Evil Remake as a 7. I'm gonna give this one an 8, just for me personally, because a lot of the things that go into it. The story is I liked a little bit of. I like the story with it. It's kind of cool. It has some coincidence here and there, but it's not like an entire like alien isolation or this Still Wakes the Deep kind of thing with how its story is handled. It handles it well, and the coincidences are far and few enough between that, okay, this could be somewhat believable. The only one I don't understand, like truly, is why the T-Rex attacked the helicopter. It's this giant whirly bird, and it's like, huh, I want to go attack that. And they had to have something in there as like a little bit of hope, like halfway through the game, to get just stomped out like that, which is just, that's the whole point of it. I laugh at that. It's so stupid. It's so absolutely stupid that happens. But I want to give Dino Crisis here a 7.5. It's because it's a good game. It has a lot of fun to it. The puzzles are great. The combat's fun. The way you can play it, because like I said, you can get sleeping darts. You can craft them. It's not easy to craft them, but you can play this entire game a lot differently based on how you actually. It has replay value because of how you can actually play it. And it's not like, oh, knife only like Resident Evil. like the first Resident Evil, this one has like different combat mechanics to it. And heck, you could theoretically skip combat. I don't know. There's some points you can, and some points I feel like you can't. So it's iffy. It's not like Silent Hill where you can skip a lot of the combat except for one fight, and I believe that's in the sewer. But yeah, so I say 7.5 for Dino Crisis. And since I don't think Danger's gonna be here for the next episode either, I am going to grab. Let me actually grab it since I'm here on this one. For YouTube viewers, we don't typically do face cam on too many, but with Danger not being here, I figured I'd try something. But the next game I will be reviewing, because I actually have talked to some of the developers of it, is Chicken Police Paint It Red. The stupid game that I got whenever I went down to Texas to visit Danger. I ended up getting in contact with the actual developers, and this isn't a Sea of Stars situation where, where I'm made mad by... I also talked with Kyle from Dragon Ball Super Dope. We have an episode where he was on talking Sparking Zero with us. He gave me a little bit of direction in how I'm supposed to talk. You aren't supposed to say anything negative, even if they ask you to say something negative about their game. But I will be playing, unless something changes, but because as of right now, we have a plan, Danger and I have a plan set up in motion. But we're going back to normal schedule of Chicken Police and then his game right after. They're going to go back into normal thing. We actually have another episode recording later on this week for later on in the year. He may have talked about it on his channel. I don't know. He's been doing a lot more streaming over there, so I don't know if he's talked about our plan over there. Sometimes he says stuff, sometimes he doesn't, so I'm not going to say yay or nay either way. But I don't know. 7.5 for Dino Crisis. It's free. If you want to go play it, literally just go into your search bar, Safari, whatever, and just be like, play Dino Crisis. And like one of the top 3 is always going to be up there. It's like with Parasite Eve, Resident Evil, Silent Hill. That's how a lot of these are. And yeah, it's a good game. It's fun. Don't buy it physically. I bought this copy for $85. It's expensive. Unless you're a collector, like unless you're starting to do the stuff like this, don't do it. It's expensive. Just go play it online for free. If you had to spend the money to play it, I'd drop the score down. But with it being free itself, I say it gives its score a little bit of thing. And I'm giving it like 7.5 between both sides. The Hayden review 7.5. Personal, like worldwide review, I would say 7.5 too. Some people won't agree, others don't. I could be wrong in there. I don't know. My review, I'm giving it a 7.5. I'm probably gonna do away with worldview review. It's gonna be Hayden review and Danger review. But I guess I have nothing else. I digress. So thanks everybody for listening. Want to go check out our other episodes? I promise we're getting back to normal schedule. I'm forcing this schedule back. Damn it! I'm not waiting on Danger, because he has been busy with work, and I understand. I have been busy with my own stuff. I'm running like 3 podcasts now. That's not including this one. I am busy, but damn it, I'm getting back to my thing. Games and Gamers, I spent money on it. I'm getting a show, damn it. Yeah, I think I got nothing else, so go play Dino Crisis, or go check out some of our other episodes we had. We've done Resident Evil, done Silent Hill, we've done Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Remake 16, Spider-Man 2018, Mario Odyssey. We played a lot of games. Go check out our channel on YouTube at Games and Gamers Podcast. Otherwise, whenever there's eventually on Spotify, I keep saying it's gonna go on Spotify. I just need to honestly bite the bullet, because every time I keep doing it, I keep running into an issue, and I never bite the bullet. I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet, spend the $150, and do that. So, I don't know. Stay tuned for Chicken Police, everybody. Peace out!